Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. And public notice, please, Ada.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone. Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice has been posted on the board's website and has been emailed to the Department of State and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Holden?
Here.
Commissioner Solomon?
Here.
Commissioner Shivakola?
Here?
Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
President Fiorelliso?
Yes, here. And our next regularly scheduled board meeting?
Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, August 12th, 10 a.m. via teleconference.
Thank you. And I would like to welcome everyone who's joining us this morning, and as we continue with our virtual meetings. So it's hopefully one of these days we will actually have a in-person meeting. And every day that goes by, we get closer to that goal, I think. I just wanted to mention the fact that item number 9A regarding the ZEC program is going to be deferred to a later meeting. Some details have to be worked out on that. We also have Lake Starter A. This matter relates to the recommendation to address delays to certain solar projects that were caused by the current health emergency. We will be taking action on this item at the end of the regular session. Again, we'll be addressing in the executive session item number regarding the BPU investigation of resource adequacy alternatives and so on. And so it's we will be taking action on this item during regular session. Executive session, I think, will last approximately 15 minutes or so. Will the Attorney General's office please read the explanation and the justification for going into executive session, please?
Certainly. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This is Deputy Attorney General Michael Beck. Energy item 2B on the agenda falls within the contract negotiation and attorney-client privilege exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act. These exceptions are found at New Jersey Statute 10:4-12B7. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We are now in executive session, Christine, and we should be back hopefully in about 15 minutes, and I'll see my colleagues on the other side here. Thank you.
Everyone will be on mute.
Thank you.
Good. We have come out of executive session, which again was a lot shorter than anticipated. And I do have some opening remarks that I'd like to get out. I want to make everyone aware that we have listed several job postings on the BPU website. We are always looking, as I've mentioned many times before, good people to be part of the BPU family. We're in need of a legal specialist in our counsel's office, and also deputy directors for both our Division of Energy and our Division of Reliability and Security. Again, these job postings can be found on the BPU website under employment opportunities, which means anyone in the BPU or outside the BPU can certainly apply for these positions. And great opportunities, great learning experiences are available in all of these postings. And people who really want to get involved in the energy industry, which is the industry to get involved in today, because it is changing so rapidly and creating so many opportunities at all levels of the energy spectrum. So think about it, you folks out of the BPU. We'd love to talk to you also. I am pleased to announce that we do have an addition to our BPU family. Kira Lawrence is joining our clean energy division to assist with projects related to the clean energy transition. Kira is an earth and environmental scientist with expertise in the study of past climate change. She will be serving as an Eagleton Science Fellow. And we are so thrilled to have her with us. And I am sure she's going to make some major contributions to the BPU. So, and I'm sure she's going to be very involved in the environmental issues that face us as we continue to move down our road to 100% clean energy. Do any other commissioners wish to make any opening remarks? Okay, hearing none. Ada, the consent agenda, please.
Yes, good morning. On the following consent agenda items, 2A, 2B, and 2C.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second, yeah, sorry.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Do we lose Commissioner Solomon?
She's trying to connect, yeah, she's connected now.
Yeah.
You're back?
Yeah, I think they said now unmuted.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Commissioner
good.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Yeah, oh, thank you.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes,
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiorelisa.
Yes. That brings us to energy. And Stacy,
Morning, Commissioner.
you're up 2A.
Can you hear me?
Well, I can.
On April 9th, 2020, Princeton University filed a petition seeking a waiver of board jurisdiction pursuant to NJSA 48:2-13 for electrical submetering of facilities to be constructed on the lake campus and potentially the proposed geoexchange system for the heating and chilling of water. Princeton also seeks a waiver from Public Service Electric and Gas Company's tariff provision prohibiting submetering. Staff recommends the board retain this matter for hearing and designate a presiding commissioner. In addition, staff recommends the board set a bar date of August 19th for the filing of motions to intervene and/or participate and for the admission pro hoc vice.
I'll move it.
Thank you. Did we decide on Stacy, when you and I talked, did I mention who the presiding commissioner might be?
We were going to ask Commissioner Holden.
Commissioner Holden, would you want to take this? I'm sorry I didn't reach out to you personally.
That'll be fine.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this? Hearing none, roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Stace.
Thanks. Have a good day, guys.
You too. 2B, matter that was discussed in executive session, which is an extremely important one, resource adequacy alternatives. And this is something that is of high importance due to the FERC ruling and the effect that it will have on renewable energy and so on, and the potential adverse effect it may have on our ratepayers. So we have to proceed down a very constructive and informative road here in order to ensure the fact that we come to the appropriate decision. So Abe and Cynthia, whoever wants to present.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Abe Silverman. I'll be presenting today. Today, I have the pleasure of presenting a request for quotations, or RFQ, to retain an economic consultant to aid the board in evaluating the state's resource adequacy options going forward. As we move to a 100% clean energy grid over the next 2 decades, we need to ensure that the mix of power plants we select to serve customers in New Jersey evolves to meet our clean energy aspirations. However, the rules that govern the selection of power plants, namely the capacity market operated by PJM interconnection, has not evolved with our state's desires for clean energy, and in fact, under the current administration, has actually made the job harder. In response, the board initiated a new docket at the end of March to examine potential resource adequacy alternatives or changes to our existing resource adequacy programs. After receiving extensive comment from stakeholders, and I want to thank all the stakeholders for their robust engagement thus far, staff has announced a technical conference to discuss these matters on September 18th. This RFQ we're asking for your approval today represents staff's next step in developing a series of recommendations to bring back to the board by the end of 2020 about our future vision for New Jersey's resource adequacy paradigm. We really are looking for 4 services in this RFQ. One, we're looking to analyze the cost and benefits of various proposals advanced by stakeholders. 2, we're looking to facilitate development of potential alternatives to the existing PJM capacity market that may accelerate achievement of New Jersey's clean energy objectives. 3, we're looking to meet and have robust discussion with various stakeholders on these resource adequacy issues. And 4, to make a formal recommendation to the board about possible frameworks by the end of 2020. The RFQ will be published on the board's website in conformance with applicable rules this afternoon. And so staff requests that the board accept this RFQ for issuance. Thank you very much.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Again, we're put in this position because of the actions of FERC, and we were all on a conference. I guess it was the neighborhood conference where the chair of FERC was asked, was this a reaction to try to promote certain types of energy over other types of energy? And he claimed no, but it does have potentially an adverse effect on some of our renewable programs. And so I have personally, and this is just my own opinion, personally have a little trouble believing that wasn't part of consideration as far as the FERC ruling was concerned. We have to do what's in the best interest of New Jersey and our ratepayers. And the reason why we have to go down this route in order to get the expertise of a consultant to assist us in determining what we think is the best route to follow. And talking about FERC, you might have seen, some of you who follow these things, that there have been nominations made to FERC, which will ensure, if they're approved by the United States Senate, which will assure that the current makeup of the FERC will pretty much stay in tact for through 2021. So we're going to have a FERC, again, if these nominees are approved, going to have these basically the same FERC to deal with. So it's so important that we maintain our vigilance in overseeing and in monitoring what's going on there. So, any other questions, comments?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Abe, I have one question. Do you have a timeline after we get the report? What happens after that? The consultant's recommendation, yeah.
Yes, I think there's sort of, two bookends. One would be, we would recommend simply going with the status quo. And that would be obviously no further action. The other sort of bookend would be recommending legislative action with a whole host of various potential options in between. And I think we'll really come back to the board and have many, many discussions about sort of which of those directions we're going to recommend after we sort of get the benefit of the additional stakeholder meetings that we're having and the benefit of the expertise of the folks that we're hoping to retain with this RFQ.
Also, as part of the recommendation, will the consultant provide some cost comparison so that way we can will be more data driven?
Absolutely, that is a excuse me, that is a key component of the RFQ, is to do an analysis of both remaining in the market as well as various options for leaving or hybrid options. So yes, that will be a key component of the output.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, Ada.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Thank you, Abe. There are no items to consider under cable television, telecommunications, water, reliability and security, customer assistance. That brings us down to clean energy and 8A, and we're looking at a budget for fiscal year 2020. Kelly, you're making the presentation.
Good morning. Oh, sorry. Go
Thanks.
ahead, Kelly.
Nope, go ahead. Go ahead. Mr. President, Sherry Jones is going to make the presentation this morning.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Sherry.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. You can hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Great. So item 8A is in the matter of the clean energy programs and budgets for fiscal year 2020 for the 5th quarter budget. The board originally established fiscal year 20 programs and program budgets through a board order dated June 21st, 2019. It then trued up and revised that budget through a board order dated January 8th, 2020, revised them for a second time through an April 6, 2020 board order, extended the budgets through a July 2nd, 2020 board order, and extended them for a second time through a July 15th, 2020 board order. On April 14th, 2020, Governor Murphy signed into law a bill that extended the state's current fiscal year 2020 to September 30th, 2020. In order to align with the state's fiscal year, staff is recommending extending the Clean Energy Program fiscal year 2020 through September 30th, 2020 as well. On July 15th, 2020, staff posted on the Clean Energy Program website and distributed to the listserv a request for comments regarding the proposed FY20 extension and third budget revisions, along with supporting documents. The reallocations of funds will allow for some programs to continue to provide incentives through September 30th, 2020. The reductions in some budget lines have been identified through analysis of program spending and participation as funding requirements that can be deferred or not used in fiscal year 2020. On July 20th, 2020, staff held a public stakeholder meeting to discuss the proposed changes and facilitated a question and answer session. On July 21st, staff issued a revised request for comments to correct a mathematical error displaying the budget in the budget table, although the total budget numbers were correct. Staff accepted comments through July 24th, 2020. The proposed budget reallocations include an increase to the budget line state energy initiatives, which represents funds that the Clean Energy Program will not utilize in the fifth quarter fiscal year 2020 budget. The initial proposal recommended increasing the budget by $16.2 million. However, in response to stakeholder feedback, staff recommends reducing the proposed line item by $1 million for a total recommended $15.2 million. This reduced amount will provide for the addition of $1 million to the evaluation budget for the purposes of a study to develop recommendations for an integrated whole house program for low-income energy efficiency. The proposed budget also includes reallocations for the following BPU budget items: an increase of $1 million for offshore wind, an increase in funding of $888,000 for staff administration, an increase in funding for program evaluation of $2.9 million. And as I mentioned, the proposal was released for comment, indicated a need for $1 million. But in response to stakeholder feedback, staff is recommending $2 million. An increase in funding for Sustainable Jersey of $125,000. Elimination of the $3 million for the community solar program, but staff will continue to advance the existing community solar pilot program. A reduction of $85,000 for the research and analyst budget. A reduction of $28,000 for the sponsorship budget. A reduction of $900,000 to the community energy grants program. A reduction of $16 million to the electric vehicles program, a reduction of $3 million from the R&D Energy Tech Hub, and a reduction of $4.5 million from the curriculum program. Proposed reallocations to programs administered by TRC include the following: an increase to the residential existing homes program budget by $461,000, an increase to the budget to the commercial and industrial buildings by $14 million, an increase of $621,000 to the direct install program, an increase of $364,000 to the SREC registration program, an increase in funding to outreach website and other budget line item of $956,000, a reduction of $764,000 to the residential new construction program, a reduction of $1.1 million for the energy efficiency products program, a reduction of $528,000 for the local government energy audit, funding of $3.5 million will not be needed for the multifamily program. A reduction of $3.3 million for the combined heat and power and fuel cell program. And we have an increase in funding of $22,000 for the EDA program. This matter also addresses some changes to programs and rules under the programs that TRC administers. First, we have proposed to offer midstream rebates on shower heads that use less than or equal to 2 gallons per minute and meet the WaterSense version 1.1 specifications. The program will offer retail price incentives through markdown and creative markdown promotions for qualified products. Additionally, eligibility and incentive amounts that were set to expire July 29th, 2020 will be extended to September 30th, 2020. Staff is also recommending to indefinitely suspend the launch of the multifamily existing homes and commercial and industrial buildings program that previously had been expected to launch during FY20. In light of the pending energy efficiency transition, staff recommends the Clean Energy Program focus on continuing existing programs and preparing for a smooth transition in program administration, and notes that the board required the utilities to run core comprehensive programs for these sectors in its June order. Therefore, staff recommends at this time that the current programs in place today will remain in the same manner as they have been conducted throughout fiscal year 20. The proposal also includes reallocations of the existing Comfort Partners budget among the utilities to ensure this critical program can continue to operate. In order to ensure that appropriate funding levels are available to the 6 utilities administering the program for the additional 3 months, the proposal includes some shifting of funds. The total Comfort Partners program budget remains the same, and these allocations do not change the overall program budget. Staff has reviewed and considered the comments received and recommends that the board adopt and approve the extension of the fiscal year, the 3rd budget reallocations, and the program changes.
So moved. Second.
Well done, Sherry. And are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Chivukula. Thank you, Mr. President. The question I have for Sherry, there are lots of numbers and all that. One thing that stood out is the workforce development. It was 2.5 million and cut it down to 2 million. Can you elaborate on that? What's the logic behind that?
Sure. I don't know if Kelly wants to jump in. The program has not expended any funds at this point, and we do not anticipate that we will be. I'm sorry, the workforce development.
I don't think that has been cut, Sherry.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, there was no cut to the workforce development.
Oh, okay. The numbers I was looking, because it's hard to see it on, yeah. I saw 2.5 million and then it says 500,000 and then it goes to 2 million. So let me look at
I'm not sure. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at item 8A, agenda item 8A, 72920, BPU docket. Yeah, let's see. Just looking at the table that's provided as part of the, I hope I have, it says fiscal year 2020, 3rd budget reallocation. So I guess maybe Kelly, you're right. I mean, there's no budget cut, but I don't know what I don't know what the numbers are. It's hard, yeah. But anyway, we need to. Well, question: if you are not, we need to focus on workforce development because a lot of people are losing their jobs, and we need to develop some careers in the energy efficiency for the long run. I know it can't be done overnight, so. Just make a note on that. That's all.
Yes, agreed, and thank you. That is definitely, as we are working through the current health situation, is important to the recovery and the economic development as we get through this. So yes, understand and agree.
Yeah, I think probably what I was looking at the numbers, maybe out of the 2.5 million, you have 2 million are used for training. That's what it says, I think. Yeah, I stand corrected that it was not a cut, but just a description. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, any other questions or comments? Yeah, I agree with you, Upendra. I mean, workforce development is extremely important and only serves to, I think, help ignite our economy. The programs that we invest in help ignite our economy, whether it's infrastructure projects that utilities do or clean energy programs that we incentivize, all assist in being a major engine in igniting our economy as we continue to work through this health emergency. So it's extremely important, and everyone realizes, I think, that the BPU is an engine for economic development without question. So, any other comments or questions? Roll call, Ada, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Thank you, Sherry, and thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
As I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, item 9A has been deferred to a later date. We have late starter A regarding clean energy item that involves our solar transition and our solar projects. And Hannah, I see that you're going to make the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Commissioners, pursuant to the Clean Energy Act of 2018, the board was required to close the legacy SREC registration program to new entrants and modify or replace it with another incentive upon attainment of 5.1% of the retail electricity kilowatt hours sold in the state being generated by solar generation connected to the distribution system in the state. The board approved a transition incentive program on December 6, 2019, to serve as a bridge between the SREC program and a successor incentive program, which is currently under development. The transition incentive order requires TI projects to comply with all rules and regulations of the SRP. By order dated January 8, 2020, the board ordered that the transition incentive program will remain open to new registrations until the establishment of a registration program for the successor program, again, currently under development. On April 6, 2020, the board determined that the 5.1% milestone would be attained on or before May 1st, 2020, and therefore directed staff to close the SRP to new registrations on April 30th, 2020. A rule proposal for the transition incentive program was published on May 18th, 2020. The TI rule proposal provides specific completion deadlines for both behind the meter and grid supply projects, including those that transfer from the legacy SRP and those that are accepted into the transition incentive program directly via a new registration. Specifically, the TI rule proposal provides that net metered projects either transferring into the transition incentive program or directly registering in that program must achieve commercial operations by the later of April 30th, 2021, or within 1 year of the project's conditional certification, plus any granted extensions. And that grid supply projects will have the later of April 30th, 2021, or 2 years from the date of the registrant's board order granting conditional certification. Absent the proposed TI rules, the transition incentive order requires that TI projects comply with the rules and regulations established for the SRP. It has come to staff's attention that many solar developers and installers are encountering significant delays in completing their projects, including those caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Staff anticipates that the timely completion of a number of projects in the transition incentive are likely to be affected by these delays. However, the transition incentive program was originally designed to be a short-term interim program, and neither the board orders establishing the transition incentive program nor the TI rule proposal explicitly provide for extensions, absent a petition to the board seeking relief. As a point of distinction, the SRP program did enable staff, when warranted, to grant first extension requests. Given the anticipated surge of transition incentive program participants seeking relief from the TI rule proposal requirements and/or the existing applicable SRP rules, the inability for staff to grant such relief and the lack of financial certainty upon expiration of a project's deadline, given that the successor solar program is in development, staff believes that a blanket extension of the deadlines imposed for commencing commercial operations is warranted to provide additional certainty to the market. Such an extension will be more equitably levied and will be less administratively burdensome than consideration of extension requests on a case-by-case basis. Further, such an extension will provide the market with necessary certainty to lower financing costs while staff continues developing the successor program. Staff recommends granting all registrations that have transferred into the Transition Incentive Program from the SRP an automatic and immediate extension to October 30th, 2021. Subsection R projects will retain the expiration date granted in the order, designating them as connected to the distribution system. Subsection T projects should receive the later of October 30th, 2021, or the date set by the board order granting the project's conditional certification plus any extensions. Staff also recommends granting an automatic and immediate extension to all new registrations that have been submitted directly to the Transition Incentive Program and received a notice of conditional registration. This group of registrations would receive an expiration date that is either October 30th, 2021, or 12 months from the date of conditional registration, whichever is later. If a new registration is accepted after October 30th, 2020, its expiration date will be the one-year anniversary of the registrant's notice of conditional registration. No extensions would apply to new subsection T registrations, since those projects have 24 months to achieve commercial operations and will thus still have valid registrations beyond October 30th, 2021. Not all registrations in the Transition Incentive Program will necessarily require this additional time. However, staff recommends that granting this extension to all registrations will benefit the solar industry by eliminating the requirement that developers go through the time-consuming process of filing extension requests, petitions for case-by-case determinations, and provide necessary financial certainty. Thank you. I'm happy to take any questions.
Motion.
President, I'll move waiving the board's rules and modify orders to allow solar projects that are registered in the Transition Incentive Program additional time to reach commercial operation.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. We continue, as Hannah mentioned, that hear reports from across the solar sector about projects being delayed from reaching their commercial operation dates. Although there is no single prominent issue, we are getting reports of utility delays in interconnections. While we understand the COVID crisis, we expect to see utilities responding timely to interconnection requests. We also continue to hear about delays in the processing of environmental and land use permits at the state and local levels, which have been exacerbated, exacerbated by the COVID crisis. Combined, we hear concerns that our solar incentive program may expire before projects can reach construction. And as a result, financing is harder or more expensive, which then, of course, is passed on to the consumer. By acting today to provide certainty to our solar community, we ensure that the green transition continues forward without imposing additional burdens. We are certainly, everyone will agree, I'm sure, living in exceptional times. And this action represents a beneficial way for us to be responsive to these concerns while keeping costs low for consumers. I just want to repeat one thing that I said because it's extremely important and it's something we hear many, many times. We expect utilities to respond to these interconnection requests on a timely basis. And I certainly hope none of the utilities exercise a delay as a matter of practice. If there is infrastructure considerations, if there are other difficulties, that utility has an obligation to tell us so that we can work together to ensure the fact that these interconnections are made on a timely basis. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, this is Commissioner Solomon.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand the reason for the blanket extension and the fact that our previous rules did not provide for that and the difficulty that created. However, as you indicated, President, we need to maintain our authority to review these extensions so that we may, be fully aware of what is happening in the marketplace and make any changes that we may need to make, based upon these experiences. So, I'm willing to move forward with the blanket extension at this time, but, it is important that we retain that authority on that review.
Any other comments or questions?
Mr. President, this Commissioner Chivukula. Hannah, I have a quick question. This has no bearing on the residential customers, right?
I'm sorry, could you clarify the question? You mean?
This order has no, it will not affect the net metered residential customers. Is that correct? Yeah.
It effectively allows for projects that were either in the pipeline but didn't energize, so projects that will no longer qualify for SREC. Effectively, projects that either will or could potentially qualify for TRECs that were either in the pipeline or new projects, regardless of whether residential or commercial, just an extension of time to reach commercial operation without risk of the construction going beyond their existing deadlines.
So basically, you don't have to say who caused the delay. It's just a blanket, whether it's the commercial applicant or residential applicant or the municipality. It doesn't really matter. So they're all getting a blanket extension. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes, we don't anticipate that if you don't, projects will energize as they are able to. But this will enable projects that do need that extra time to get that extra time without worrying about the clock running out and going through the process of requesting and petitioning the board.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon, Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiorelliso.
Yes. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. If there are no other items, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. We are adjourned. And again, thank you for joining us today.
I think President's voice is not coming clear. Yeah.
I believe he said we're adjourned.
Oh, we're done. Oh, then okay. I like to hear that. Commissioner. Okay, have a good day.
See you, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, bye.